It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
As Filipowski catches, being guarded by Marcus Smart now, drives, powers him to the rack, and packed it on top of him. You may be the defensive player of the year once before, but I don't care. Kyle Filipowski with utter disrespect to Marcus Smart and a two-hand hammer. Call your guesses on where Starr's going, steals it, goes the other way, and packs it with the right hand. Williams retreats back out, sets up Juzang, the Jazz leading scorer right now with 21. He led UCLA to the Final Four. He's going back into his bag for a step-back three, and he hits. Johnny Juzang, how do you do?
Johnny's continuing to feel his way into his new role. You know, Johnny's put in a lot of work the last 2 years to become more of an off-ball catch-and-shoot player, which is not what he was before the NBA, so he deserves a lot of credit for that. He's continuing to make good reads, when to shoot his catch-and-shoot, and then when to play off a closeout. Changing your identity on the offensive side of the ball is really hard.
Johnny Juzang leading the Jazz with 27 points, 5 of 9 on the three-pointers and 5 of 6 on the two-pointers, attacking the closeout, as Coach Will Hardy says. And Filipowski went for 23 and 13, and yet, PK, the Jazz sad enough guys, they lost to the Wizards 125-122. I suspect you thought that was an excellent performance.
Yeah, I thought the best thing that I saw watching the game was Isaiah Collier going to the line 9 times, more than anybody in the entire game. Now, he didn't make enough of them. He was 5 of 9. He's got to be better than that. Like at least 6, if not 7 of 9, maybe 8. But, you know, as I look at these guys, Johnny Juzang in his new role, well, he only has the role because the team is tanking. So his new role, I mean, I understand Hardy's got to say something, and you've got about 10 to 15 minutes where he has to talk. It's required. So go on that. It's a fresh story, but I don't think Juzang is going to have a big role if the team is winning and making a playoff push. And
Johnny Juzang, starting two-guard.
You know, taking nothing away from him because he had a nice game. Yeah,
he did.
That three at the end. It's funny to me how guys, their percentage when they know they have to shoot just goes up so much. You know, he hit that three to put it in, and then at the end, Sensabaugh didn't really get off a shot.
So much of it is mental, so little of it is physical. The physical thing is the same, shooting the three, but the mental part, should I shoot, should I not shoot? You're all freed up by that.
Yeah, we saw it with George a couple games ago when they had, I don't even
Let it
remember
fly.
who it was, when they had to make that big comeback and all that. But yeah, I'm proud of the team that they go ahead and we're tanking, man, and we're no bones about it. You don't like it? Here's what you can think. And also like that Cody Williams was just way more physically aggressive. 33 minutes. Just his, what am I looking for? Not as more than body language. Mindset, I think is the right word I'm looking for. His mindset, to me, was as good as I've seen it so far this season.
It does help, of course, that they're playing the worst team in the league, and the worst team in the league was sitting its 2 leading scorers, so the bar is lowered. We'll see what these guys can do the rest of the trip. I suspect there's going to be a bunch of guys sitting a bunch of games on this trip, with the possible exception of Boston, where they can play everybody and probably get beat anyway. Like they got Philadelphia ahead on this trip, and Philly's not very good.
As long as Peyton Pritchard's walking through that door, Boston, yeah, they're pretty much unstoppable.
Peyton Pritchard is your go-to, huh?
Have you seen what he's done?
Yes, I have. Jazz are at Toronto tomorrow. That is next up for Utah. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
Peyton Pritchard has played 38 minutes. Stop and start. Goes to the left hand. Scores off the window, and it's a first career 40-point game for Peyton Pritchard.
Right wing Strus. 3. Too strong. Long rebound. Grabbed by Hunter. In the right corner to Garland. Lob left wing. Donovan. Hits 3. Bullseye! Cavs lead 106-105.
Nearly traveled. Sends it out front. Shea steals it. Down the lane to the rim for the dunk. Outstanding defense punctuated by a Shea swipe and slam.
Highlights from around the NBA. The aforementioned Peyton Pritchard, 43 points, 10 rebounds, 5 of 6, 10 of 16 behind that three-point line. Tatum was out. Pritchard stepped in, and he wasn't alone. Derek White went for 41. The Pritchard and White show carries the Celtics to a 128-118 win over the Portland Trail Blazers. And they're actually up by 20 going to the fourth quarter, and Portland made it look better in garbage time. So there you go. Peyton Pritchard, take note.
Oh, yeah, they were without three starters. I once asked somebody that I respect a great deal, and I don't want to say the name to embarrass him, because Pritchard played at Oregon back when the Utes were in the Pac-12 and we were following them. And I said, what do you think? Meaning his chances of the NBA. And lukewarm was the response I got back. Smaller dude, let's call it like it is, white. And Ainge, if you want some hope, Ainge takes him with the 26th pick of the 2020 draft. Like, Peyton Pritchard, taking him in the first round, a 6'1" white dude, blah, 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 blah. Well, so this means he's in his fifth year, and he's really, really come on. Averaging 14.5 points and 4 boards and 3.5 assists. I mean, he's not an all-star, but when the all-star's out, he goes for 43, and his role has just increased dramatically this season.
His playing time's doubled over the last couple of years, and his scoring's tripled. He's really – we always talk about the third year, and you really know after the third year, and he's a guy who's in his fifth year. And he's got a bigger role, so it's easier to make it happen. But these last 2 years, the role's increased.
So there's hope there. Ainge plucks him out of late in the first round.
And he was a 4-year college guy, right? Or was he 3?
I think he was 4.
4, yeah.
He might even have gone to – he's a local kid, I believe, if I remember, in Oregon. And he might have even started as a walk-on. I'm not sure about that. I certainly followed him when he was in Oregon, but that's several years ago.
You're to Donovan Mitchell 3 in that highlight montage because the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Miami Heat 112-107. Cleveland still with the best record in the NBA, ever so slightly in front of Oklahoma City. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with the dunk there in that highlight montage as well. The Thunder beat the Grizzlies, so the top 2 teams in the league keep winning and keep pace. Important to the Jazz, the Charlotte Hornets. Hornets get beat. Minnesota handles them 125-110. So the second and third worst teams in the league lost. The worst team in the league, Washington, picked up a W. 12 wins now for Washington, 14 for Charlotte, and 15 for Utah, if you're keeping track of the race in Tankathon 2025. DJ and PK.
#NFL.
The first year off an Achilles is one of the hardest things to do. You've seen it happen with Kirk. Kirk had a down year. It happened with Aaron. I mean, he struggled, like you said, early on, but he got better as the season went. I think with all the doubt and all the negativity around Aaron Rodgers, he needs to retire, things like that, he's getting cut by the Jets. I think he's going to come back and have I know he's 42 or 41.
Are you going to say MVP?
No, I think he's going to have a big year this year, and I hope it's in our town.
Max Crosby wants Aaron Rodgers in Las Vegas. The Raiders make Crosby the highest paid non-quarterback with a 3-year, $106.5 million deal. Aaron Rodgers, 42, coming off an Achilles, and Max Crosby wants to roll the dice on him. Who will do it? I'm not sure anybody will. I think it's probably more likely than not, but it doesn't feel like a guarantee, though. Quarterback roulette. Who wants in? Who needs somebody?
Oh, I think he'll play in the NFL if he wants to next season.
Chargers have released edge rusher Joey Bosa after 9 seasons. The move frees up $25 million in cap space ahead of free agency. Bosa has said in the past he'd like to play with his brother Nick in San Francisco.
Well, you can't say in the future. I mean, it just doesn't work that way.
He didn't say it in the present either. It's not a comment from yesterday. Chargers now with a massive amount of money if Jim Harbaugh and the front office staff want to go make moves. The Seattle Seahawks opening up some room. They released 10-year vet Tyler Lockett, second most productive wide receiver in franchise history. They released 4 players on Tuesday, but they wanted a standalone day to celebrate Lockett as they waived him. DK Metcalf requested a trade out of Seattle not long after the news about Lockett. The 27-year-old reportedly prefers to be dealt to a contending team and hopes he has some kind of logic. Is this just to get a new contract, or does he really want to go?
When does a player ever hope to be traded to a losing team?
Some players will just be traded anywhere they can get their money. Denver Broncos have fired outside linebacker coach Michael Wickoit just over a week after he was arrested for allegedly punching a police officer at the Denver International Airport. Broncos head coach Sean Payton, we recognize the serious nature of the allegations against him and believe this is the best course of action at this time. Appreciate Michael's contributions to the Broncos and am confident he'll move forward in a positive direction. So he's out in Denver. DJ and PK.
#NHL.
Utah Hockey Club off last night. They're in Detroit to play the Red Wings. Contract extensions, more of them being announced. Karel Vejmelka in goal, 5-year deal worth $4.75 million per year. 5 years, $24 million. Also extended, Alex Kerfoot and defenseman Ian Cole both signed 1-year deals worth $3 million. The move's locking up more veterans before tomorrow's trade deadline, 3 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Mountain.
Yeah, and all these guys at one time or another said they really appreciate being here. So looks like they've got a potential for a good thing going. To what level? Well, we got to check back in 2 to 3 years. But they're not putting their ducks on the pond. They're putting them on the ice. And it looks like there's going to have a lot of stability.
They seem to improve about 10 points per year. If you track back in when they bottomed out in Phoenix, I think it was at 57 points, moving up through the 60s, 70s last year. Looks like they're going to finish somewhere in the 80s this year. Maybe with a strong finish, they do better than that. So keep it growing, keep it moving in a positive direction, and keep some of the familiar faces in there. Vejmelka's taken over that role as the number one goaltender this year, so he gets the biggest of the 3 deals. Red Wings tonight. Utah sitting on 63 points. Calgary and Vancouver now on 67. So they're 4 points back from the last playoff berth. Puck drops at 5 o'clock tonight. Pregame starts at 4 o'clock here on The Zone. That is what's trending, brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Coming up, Cole Bagley, Utah Hockey Club insider, will join us at 9:30. Marcelo Balboa, MLS commentator for Apple TV, at 8 o'clock. Next, the question of the day. Stay with us.
And now, a look at traffic from the KSL Traffic Center.
We've got a crash at top of on-ramp from 2100 North in Lehigh to go I-15 northbound, and that is blocking the right lane and shoulder. We've also got a big pothole on northbound I-15 near 650 North in Clearfield that has caused tire issues for at least half a dozen vehicles, so use caution there. Advanced Window Products, factory direct, affordable windows. Call today. They're on their way. Financing is available. Save now, pay later. That's advancedwindows.com. With your KSL traffic update, I'm Christian Esparza here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
You know what's happened over the last month that's really important for the Jazz? Keontae's probably a full-time bench player for the rest of his career. He doesn't want that, I'm sure. He's been really good coming off the bench. And you can hide a lot of his deficiencies when he's going up against other second-unit players that are equally flawed. If you have a 6-man who can score 30 and get everyone involved with some playmaking, he's really valuable. So you found the role for Keontae, and I suspect he's going to stay there for a while. And now what the nice thing is for the Jazz is they thought that was going to be Colin Sexton's role. Well, now you can trade Colin and get whatever you want for him. If you feel like Keontae at 21 years old is more valuable than Colin Sexton at 26 years old going into this summer with $18 million on his contract, because you control Keontae forever, and if he's a 6-man, no one's going to pay him. Until you are putting them in the right positions to succeed, it's so hard to nail them down.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.